So today we will discuss about the cerebrospinal fluid, or we can call CSF. So how the CSF produced in the central nervous system, and what cavity in the central nervous system produce the CSF. So let's begin, and then now we should understand the basic terminology and the structure of the CSF cavity first. So let's draw the simple diagram of the central nervous system. So central nervous system have brain and spinal cord. For example, this is your central nervous system here. This is the cerebral. This is the cerebral hemisphere. We call cerebral hemisphere. Then here we have the left and right, left hemisphere and right hemisphere, and then down to here we have the brainstem. Here is brainstem, or we call this is midbrain, and down to midbrain we have two parts, two balloon here, and two balloon here. This we call bones. What we call bones. And down to bones here, what we have here. Of course, this is the medulla. This is medulla, right? And down to medulla, of course, what we have here. Here we have the spinal cord. Spinal cord here. Now this is the basic structure of the central nervous system. What we have here? Central nervous system. Then now, where is the cavity of the CSF? As I said, CSF stands for cerebrospinal fluid. Then we will study the function of the CSF in the next video. Now we just see the structure of the CSF cavity first. Then, now you see here, this is the, before I draw the CSF cavity, so you need to understand here we have one thing very important here. In deep inside the cerebral hemisphere, we have two structure like this. These two structure above the midbrain. Above the midbrain and deep inside the cerebral hemisphere, of course we have two. And this we here what we have here. This structure we call thalamus. Now what we call here? We call thalamus here. And now you see, from here, this is the left hemisphere and right hemisphere. Then we have the cavity. What is this cavity? Yes. This cavity. So this cavity is present in the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, and here we call both sides. Okay, we have here lateral. We have lateral ventricle. This part we call lateral ventricle. What we call lateral ventricle. So lateral means side. So anything which is related to the size of the body, of the size of the center, and then we call lateral. Here we have lateral ventricle. Of course, we have left lateral ventricle and we have right lateral ventricle. Here this ventricle which produce the CSF here. And then here, this left ventricle, lateral ventricle, connect with right lateral ventricle through a hole here, the small hole here. And what is the name of the hole here? This hole we call foramen of what we call. Here we call foramen of. I will write here foramen of Monroe. Right? So the left lateral ventricle connect with the right lateral ventricle through the foramen of Monroe. And then down to here. Down to here. This is the, this is the thalamus here, and this is the here. From here, the CSF will flow. From here, the CSF from here. So they will flow to this. So this space or this cavities is present between the two thalamus here. We call thalami, right? And then the space of the cavity between these two thalamus here, we call third ventricle. Now, from lateral ventricle, the CSF is producing inside here, CSF inside here, and they will flow to the third ventricle, what we call third ventricle. Right. Now, from third ventricle, and here is the midbrain. Then there is a duct here. Okay. So this duct present in the midbrain. And then what we call here? This duct we call cerebral aqueduct. We call cerebral aqueduct here. So from this third ventricle, the CSF will flow to this tip. This tip we call cerebral aqueduct, or we also call this ependymal tip. What we call ependymal tip. Right? So ependymal tip we also call cerebral aqueduct here. So the CSF will flow to here. And then from here, at the midbrain, at the end of the midbrain, so this cavity start to expand from here, and expand to here, and expand to here. Here is a bones and medulla here, and then of course this is the subspinal cord here, and inside we have what? Central canal. So central canal is also the CSF also come to this central canal. This we call central canal. Right. And here, central canal will go upward. Will go upward here. And then at the mid of the medulla here, and it also starts expanding here, right? You see, central canal here at the middle of the medulla. This space or this cavity start to expanding here, and then here we also have two holes here also. So at this portion, these two holes, the CSF will go out the central nervous system, right? Then now you see the space, this space between bone and medulla. This space we call third ventricle. Sorry, we call fourth ventricle. This space we call fourth ventricle. Now you see we have lateral ventricle, third ventricle, and fourth ventricle, and the central canal here. We don't say first or second ventricle. We just say lateral ventricle. Okay, and then we say third ventricle and fourth ventricle. Now you see, actually this is cerebral hemisphere. We call this telencephalon. So cerebral hemisphere we call telencephalon, and this lateral ventricle we also call this is the cavity of the telencephalon. From here, the CSF will be produced here, and then it's go down. It's move down or flow down to here. Of course, we have two holes here, and these two holes, the CSF will go out. Okay, go out the central nervous system. We will study later. Now you see, this third ventricle is present in the between the two thalamus here. And then what we call, and then this cavity we call actually this we call the space which two thalamus are present here, and this space we call mesencephalon. Diencephalon, sorry, we call diencephalon. So actually, the third ventricle is the cavity of diencephalon. And now we come to here, this cerebroaqueduct here, or ependymotic here, and this space, or this cavity we call the cavity of the midbrain. And midbrain we also call that mesencephalon. Mesencephalon, right? Now here at bones and medulla, we have fourth ventricle, and this is the cavity of we call mesencephalon. This is the cavity of rhombencephalon. Now, this is the cavity of rhombencephalon. Yeah, and here is this is the central canal, is the cavity of the spinal cord here. So this is the basic structure of the CSF cavity, and where the CSF fluid, or we say the cerebrospinal fluid, is producing here. And then in the next video we will continue to learn how the CSF produce from inside and how they move out the central nervous system to protect our central nervous system. So see you in the next video. Thank you so much.